I'm Alyssa Mercante, Kotaku senior editor, and I wrote this. Let's talk about it.
Oh, good lord, I intend to.
Hi, I'm Alyssa Mercante, Kotaku senior editor, and I wrote this. Let's talk about it. If you have been in the deepest, darkest corners of the gaming internet, first of all, are you okay?
And over here, we see the female Homo sapien, stricken with an affliction we like to call terminally onlineitis. They often move in makeshift groups and are part of a tribe we call the cringe fringe. Notice the tribal markings, the metal adornments hanging from the face, the tattoos and the short hair. Markings which indicate a type of behavior pattern called ideological possession. A condition a Homo sapien is often very susceptible to if they happen to spend several years alone and miserable, unsuccessful in finding a mate and producing offspring. Given the advanced stage of this phenomenon in this case, however, I'm struggling to explain why that's a bad thing. As far as the question is concerned, yes, I am fine. And you know why? Because for several years we spent our days plunged in a realm of chaos, and we loved it. You could make fun of absolutely everything. From homosexuals to the blacks to the Nazis and the Jews. And you know who cared? Absolutely no one, because it was a space dominated by men. It was only once it was infected by a bunch of stuck-up miserable harpies did it suddenly become problematic and toxic, forcing us to ask, who the hell do these wankers think they are? And what are they doing here? And most importantly, why won't they simply fuck off?
Second of all, you probably have already heard this story.
Unfortunately. And now your shabby self demeans the gloriousness of my attire and shiny monocle.
Sweet Baby Inc. is a narrative design company. They've done a lot of work on a lot of games.
The same way that Shiro Ishii did a lot of work on the Chinese in Unit 731. And yes, I did just relate them to war criminals.
But that makes gamers angry.
Now, I imagine the drone will blame sexism and racism. Yes, scratch imagine, I know she will. The script is already written.
Because they think that Sweet Baby Inc. is pushing a woke agenda into their favorite games.
We do narrative development in games and kind of beyond, and we try to bring a lot of inclusion, diversity, and new ideas kind of to the industry. And I once worked on a project where they had an all-white cast, and they expressed their desire, like, okay, we need to mix it up a bit. How about this character's kind of like stereotypically French? So they have a beret, and they have like a striped shirt. And I was like, okay, if you need to do that, can we at least make them a person of color?
That would be the reason why.
This all started back in October 2023 with a Kiwi Farms post that was alleging that Sweet Baby Inc.'s involvement in Alan Wake 2 was the reason why the protagonist Saga Anderson was a black woman. Just a few days ago, a Steam page called Sweet Baby Inc. Detected was discovered. That Steam page had a list of all of the games that Sweet Baby Inc. has worked on, and its purpose was to encourage players to avoid them because of the woke agendas that they push.
In October of 2023, you say, yet the Steam Detector only came out a few days ago. Your timeline does not add up at all. I feel details are missing.
The Steam page now has well over 100,000 followers.
Over 230,000, actually. Well done to all of you who showed up.
And there's a Discord that is spun off from the Steam page, and it contains exactly the kind of shit you would expect it to contain.
Oh yes, give me all of the racism and Nazi memes, traditionalism and Marcus Aurelius, people.
It's like, get new material! You've been doing the same joke for 10 years!
And once again, we see the manifestation of ideological possession. One of the side effects of ideological possession, aside from having a dress sense like one tried to fornicate a vat of Skittles, is a severely diminished capacity to reason. As a result, this one is unable to grasp the concept of irony, as she herself has remained the unchanged butt of the joke for 10 years. It's like if a large man was complaining about being made fun of for being overweight, yet insisted that every meal he consumes must be washed down with a pint of lard.
A lot of this anger and ire is obviously rooted in racist and problematic sexist tropes, right?
Told you, this is not a human speaking, this is a piece of code running a feedback loop.
But it also has to do with the fact that people just fundamentally don't understand how games are made.
We do. We've never had this problem before, and the games are worse now. Simple as. Stop trying to condescend to us.
Sweet Baby Inc. is a narrative design company. What they do is join a game, usually long into development, as a sort of freelancer, a contract worker. They'll zhuzh up some dialogue, or they'll add NPC barks, or maybe they'll write funny in-game ads. Sometimes they're hired to do cultural checks on characters that already exist. Like, for example, Alan Wake 2 was made by a team that is mostly from fucking Finland. Of course, they would want someone who might have similar experiences to a black woman in America to check to see if their version of Saga made any sort of sense.
Why? The player base won't even be black women. Who the hell gives a damn?
But no, gamers assume that that means that Harley Quinn killed Batman in Suicide Squad because Sweet Baby Inc. came in and said kill all men. Sweet Baby Inc. didn't even get involved in Suicide Squad until long after the game was done. Like, the story was done. They were in there to add color and texture to dialogue.
You're a terrible, terrible liar.
An NPC fucking voice line. Sweet Baby co-founder David Bedard said to me that the people making these games, the people at the studios, they want to make the experience better for all players, which means diversity and representation are getting baked in there naturally.
Considering the CEO is on record openly stating they push diversity in games and you just admitted they come in as freelancers, no, this edition is not natural, it is in fact forced.
Because you know what? There are other people other than straight white guys that play video games.
And you idiots have yet to understand this, presumably because you're insane and stupid. Representation alone does not make something interesting or a story compelling. The same way that declaring you're a vegan does not mean anyone else gives a shit. This is why Sweet Baby Inc. have the reputation they do. They're not a narrative company, they're just bureaucrats who shore up a DEI score. There's a reason why all of their games are diverse and suck ass. Not to mention, you confirm the accusations of insane and stupid when you say things like, they don't force diversity, but they are adding these non-white things because more than just straight white men play games.
Can't believe we have to say this in 2023. It's 2023? It's 2024! The assumption that people from Sweet Baby Inc. can only bring their marginalization or their identity to the table is incredibly insulting.
Yeah, and the truth hurts. They're no more than their skin color. They have nothing else to offer the world.
People can't imagine that we might not do anything else but DEI, is what the CEO of Sweet Baby Inc. said to me.
Once again,
we try to bring a lot of inclusion, diversity, and new ideas kind of to the industry. Okay, if you need to do that, can we at least make them a person of color?
They can't imagine that we're just talented writers.
Because every game they touch has shit writing. Welcome to pattern recognition.
That we're talented narrative designers, and that people are hiring us because we tell good stories.
No, they're hired to boost ESG scores.
Because we collaborate well. Because we write video games. They have to diminish our accomplishments to our identities.
Because they promote it on their website, you daft git.
They can't imagine that the work I did on Spider-Man was story work versus adding pride flags.
Neither of which were well received, by the way.
Gamers are looking for something to blame. They're pissed off that games are getting bigger and somehow shittier.
And pray tell, why do you think that is?
And they don't know where to put their anger.
No, they do, actually, and they have evidence for their rage, and no amount of gaslighting by some failing soon-to-be replaced by AI journalist is going to make them believe otherwise.
They're certainly not going to point it at the white guys who are making games.
Because we're objectively better than you at everything.
They're going to point it at the people of color who are involved. They're going to point it at the queer people who are involved.
Because you never shut the hell up about identity politics. You're boring NPCs with no lives or personalities. You are literally walking scripts. Once we see your pronouns in the Twitter bio, we instantly know the script.
They're going to point their ire anywhere that they can that they deem different and other.
Yeah, because you're going out of your way to make something different just for the sake of being different, not because it's actually better. Hence why it's us.
Sweet Baby Inc. isn't the biggest company that does this, and it's not the most popular company that does this.
No company that does this is popular. They're all forced to work in the shadows. No one but misfits and miserable activists approve of any of this crap, and sales and the massive layoffs prove this.
And it's not as involved in games as you think that it is. Get brought in, just like a bunch of other teams get brought in to a bunch of other games to do a pass on it and to see how it is. Guess what? That's what happens in movies and TV too, guys. Hello?
Yeah, and how's it working out for Hollywood? Disney lost $123 billion in market value in 2023. Stocks dropped 44%. Disney lost 4 million subs in the second quarter of 2023, on top of the 2.4 they already lost in the first. No one likes, wants, or cares for diversity, and no amount of shrieking sexism and racism is ever going to shake the undeniable reality that your ideology is an undesirable pile-of-wank perversion and you people suck ass. Cheers for watching, and once again, I apologize for nothing.